What's going on, folks? Your boy again, Dr. Sean Thomas here, back in the building. Be More Today show. We're back. Episode 102. Believe it or not, we are moving and grooving. And folks, it's been an honor and a pleasure just bringing again great people on the show, showing you how to be great, how to be more, how to be better in various walks of life. As you already know, Be More Today is a movement. We've been pushing and grooving on our Strava page, on our Be More Today page, BeMoreToday.com for my book, our podcast, our more merch store. Go out there and grab your things while you can. They are on there, your visors, your water bottles, your t-shirts, and of course, your gaiters. And as always, the show continues to grow. 63 countries, 27,000 downloads. Thank you so much for your love and support. It, as always, does not go unnoticed. My quote for today is simple as always. Be stronger than your excuses today. You cannot learn if you're not willing to learn. And the whole point of that is simple, right? We have to be in a place where we're not having excuses. It's very, very easy to say, you know what? I'm not going to do that today, or I'm not going to try to be better today, or I don't have to practice my craft today, because there are so many things that get in the way. Distractions, fatigue, just the challenges of life get in the way of us trying to be better at whatever we're doing, whether it's a sport that we're trying to play or our actual job, just being better people in general. But you can't learn if you're not willing to learn. Each of us can learn how to do something better. We need sometimes coaching. We need sometimes more reading, more research, more training. But we can get better at whatever we're trying to do if we take that time to put the work into it. And my guest on the show today is the embodiment of that. He's someone who I played basketball against back in the day in grad school. He has been a pillar in his community now as a basketball coach and teacher, trying to inspire the next generation of people coming up to take sports seriously and to apply the goals that they apply to life into sports together, because those two things are parallel. And his name is Clint Hardware. Now, Clint runs a basketball clinic called Hard to Guard Basketball. It's the hashtag or the name that he used when I was playing him in grad school. And I saw him on Instagram with a couple of different camps going on. I said, I have to have him on the show today. So, folks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, pets included, please welcome to the stage my boy and the man with the master handles, my boy, Clint Hardware. Clint, what is going on?
How you doing today, young man?
Brody, I am good. It's been a minute. I haven't seen you probably since we played basketball together when I was going to school at Downstate. And
That's been
you
a
were on a
while.
team called Old School Ballers.
Old school
And
ballers.
yep, Old School Ballers. And I was on two teams. We had a team called Watch the Throne. And we had one called
Mhm.
Gravity Eliminated. And
Uh-huh.
I remember we used to battle. We used to play ball on
Yeah,
Fridays. We used to
yeah,
play ball
yeah.
during the competition. And
Hmm.
you were a beast. I mean, I
I
remember
was trying.
no, you weren't trying. Let's just keep it real. You were incredible. Handles, shooting, all that. I mean, it got to a point where, this is before Steph Curry even came into the league, and you were shooting threes like way beyond the regular league. You were like, yo, who is this cat taking these 3-point shots all over the place and making them? And it was you. And it was just fun playing ball with you. You guys won, we won, whoever, everybody won, but it was great just being in that environment. It was a fun environment as I was playing ball after work, whatever else, and just kind of vibing. And I remember you actually gave me a shirt. You gave me one of your
Mhm.
shirts, one of your Hardly Guard shirts, and I actually wore that shirt for various games at Downstate, and then even after that, to play for other leagues. And people always question, "Oh, where's that shirt from?" And I referenced you because
Okay.
you were someone who I really just saw as someone who really loved the game, and
Hmm.
you weren't cocky about it. You weren't like rash about it. You were just someone who just played the game and loved it and loved this competition and just loved people coming together when the game was over, whether you won or lost. No one knew that you were this rock star, on the court. And I just really loved and appreciated about you. So when I saw your post on Instagram about your clinic, I said, I got to have this guy on the show so he can just share with others what he's doing for his community. So thank you so much for making time today to be on the show.
I appreciate being on your show.
Yes, sir. So yeah, listen, I need to know the background because most
Okay.
cats, when we go to the gym, you don't know who's who play basketball in high school, college, whatever. So did you play ball growing up? What was that like? And where are your roots?
Well, I started playing. basketball, like, in my school, I should say, like, I was decent. Let me not say decent. I was all right because I was like a standout in my class. So in junior high school, a coach came to my school to have tryouts, and I tried out, and I made the team. So about sixth grade, I was like, playing with eighth graders. I was fairly good for not being coached by anybody yet. So by that time, the coach disappeared when I got into seventh grade and came back in eighth grade. So by that time, they was calling me not for nothing, Air Jordan. I was pretty good. Everybody knew who I was basketball wise. I was playing against high school guys, or high school guys know of me in my neighborhood. But most of the things I learned was in the park because I go to the park and there was like 100 people in the park and 100 good people. In order for you to stay on the court, you had to be good yourself. So not only did I mimic people that was older than me that was good, I also learned from coaches by the time I was in eighth grade. So now the parks are abandoned. You don't see kids out there playing full court games anymore. When I was young, full court, we waited until 10 people came in the park to play. We didn't play 3-on-3 unless it was a real slow day. But we automatically knew when we got in our court, it was full court. So I went to high school, went to South Shore High School. I played on JV my first year because I was really small. By the time I got to 10th grade, I was varsity from 10th to 12th. And I was starting maybe my 11th grade. And my name was, I was playing all over the city, was on a team. I was like a guy on my team, the guy on my team. I played basketball 7 days a week. Matter of fact, when I was in eighth grade, my schedule was I left school. I stayed in school for a junior high school basketball practice. After I left junior high school, I went to a park practice. After the park practice, I went to Nazareth High School for practice. After Nazareth High School practice, I went to Tilden High School for practice. And then went back home. I don't know how I graduated eighth grade because I went to basketball. I went to like 4 practices after school. But I came home, I guess, did homework. That was too long ago, so did homework. By the time I got to high school, the routine was basketball, basketball, basketball. So I went to South Shore High School, played 4 years of basketball there. Then after that, I went to Essex County. I played 2 years there. And then after that, for some reason, playing I wasn't so excited about playing. I was more excited about teaching and helping. I had a friend that played overseas in Spain that I used to help out a lot. Training. He played probably like 20 years in Spain, 16 years in Spain, another 4 in Argentina. I used to go there all the time and help pass the ball, help with drills, and watch the games. I had a little cousin that went to Providence University, started on Providence University. I used to help him also. He played a couple of years overseas as well. Now he's in California doing basketball, just like I was doing. So I've always loved basketball, always helped basketball. Even when I was a point guard, younger kids, older kids used to come ask me for questions. How do I do this? What do I do about this? So I was always knowledgeable in the game. I'm more technical, than just going out there and play. I watch techniques and stuff like that.
Amazing. I would have never known any of that, right? Just by watching you on the court and seeing what you were doing. And, I'm curious, let's listen to you talk about the history of being so ingrained in basketball at such a young age. It sounds like at some point in time you not that you were worn out, but that you had just had your fill of basketball for such a long time, every day, all day. Do you think that if you had not started so young, you may have played or wanted to play as you get older, or do you just have more of a knack for and a passion for coaching others?
No, I think one probably reason because when I started to get older, I started to play against the same players all the time. And the same players, they wasn't as good. And they used to lead into arguments. And I got kind of frustrated with just running up and down and arguing every 2 seconds after that. So I was just like, you know what, man, I'm tired of this. If I would have probably stayed away, maybe, because a lot of coaches always told me that I should have played some type of pro ball. Not because I'm the skill wise, just the knowledge wise. Coaches would appreciate a person like me on their team. I could play in the park, run up and down, but coaches would love a player like me because I was the second coach. I was more of a what's his name, Chris Paul before Chris Paul. So that knowledge is key.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And now you've kind of segued into teaching others, right? You have your
Hmm.
basketball camp. Tell us
Yes.
more about this camp that you've been running or the clinic you've been running and how you are giving back to your community at this time.
Well, like I said, I was teaching kids. I've been teaching kids basketball since I was a kid. Like literally when I was in eighth grade, sixth grade, she used to come and ask me, how you do this? How you do this? There's coaches now that coach high school that they could tell you when I was a kid, they used to come and ask me to help them out when they was basketball players. So I was a kid teaching kids. So now that I was working 9 to 5, I actually read a book. And the book was about a guy that went to school to be a lawyer, was painting at school rooms, and he ended up opening up a paint shop when he graduated law school.
Hmm.
So at the end of the book, it just said, do something that you love and don't watch how much money you make. So I was thinking, what do I love? And that was basketball. So I started writing flyers, writing on a piece of paper and copying and making flyers and posting on walls and putting on cars and stuff like that. And I started to get 1 call, 2 calls, 3 calls. I was in the park. Uh, I had one player. I ended up being in the gym. I had 5 players. I had 10 players, and it just grew after that. But they happened in 1 year. It took a while. It took maybe 5, 6, 7 years. But in between that, I was coaching at a CYO, a St. Vincent CYO team. I also was assistant coach at BMCC. So I was always out there trying to coach or do something coaching. My thing wasn't coaching because I didn't like coaching. Because coaching me at the time was old guys, old fat guys. That was how I saw it. That was older and I was too young. I was like, I don't want to be called no coach. I'd rather be called somebody that's helping you out, trainer. So I didn't really appreciate the word coach. What happened was I was outside with some friends and I'm meeting kids. They was like, coach, coach, coach. I used to be embarrassed. Literally. And they were like, yo, Clint, we hear the coach. Don't think we don't hear it. Then I just embraced it after a while. It was too much, you gotta embrace it. Gotta embrace it. So, I realized these kids, they appreciate me. A lot of them appreciate me. Sometimes their parents can't talk to them. The parents ask me to speak to them sometimes.
Mm.
So, I've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah. I mean, that's incredible. I think the connection, thinking about the coaches that I've had in my life has always been a special one, whether they've been male or
Mm-hmm.
female. Just it's a person in your life that becomes a family figure, a mom, father figure, whatever. And
Yeah.
that person
Mm-hmm.
becomes your confidant, that becomes your everything. You just talk more about sports and life with that person. You spend so much time with them on the court, off the court, talking about certain things. And you don't want to let that person down. You want to impress that person. You
Yeah.
want them to be
Yeah.
proud of
Yeah.
you. So
Mm-hmm.
you're doing that now for these young people, and it's really inspiring seeing someone
Mm-hmm.
take their time out to educate and uplift the youth of today or next generation. So,
Yeah,
I
man, well, I
salute you on
appreciate
that.
this.
I give you kudos for that. And, I'm curious where you guys practice, what days you have clinic, who can join. I mean, you're a Brooklyn guy, I'm guessing, right? You from
Yes,
Brooklyn.
yes. Well, for the last maybe 6 years, I run the Aviator Sports is in Brooklyn by Floyd Bennett Field. I run the basketball program there, but also I rent out the gym myself and run my personal program because that's what I was doing before I ran the programs. I ran my own personal programs. Now I just rent out the gym and they're, running my practices or my in-house I got right now where kids come, they sign up. I sign them to teams and we play. It's like remember I said I used to go to the park and play full courts. Now I run my own program where kids come to the gym and they play full court. So it's organized. I have a ref, I have the clock, I give out trophies at the end, and kids laugh and joke. And the best thing about it is not the basketball for me, is when, like, couple things. 2 years later, there's parents that meet each other inside my gym are friends, or the kids are best friends. I follow them on Instagram. I see, friends. The other day, a parent was kind of bothered. It's like, my son is too small to play in your group. Can I get my money back? I'm sorry, but he's too small. I said, okay, just call me tomorrow. She called me late that day and said, you know what? I'm gonna stay in your class. I told my sister what happened, and she told me you taught her son, and she told me how good you were. and I'm gonna stay in your class. So,
Mm.
she thought her son wasn't good enough, but I guess her sister, that I don't know who her sister is, but her sister convinced her, listen, that guy is a good guy. He's gonna take care of your son. Stay. And since then, every time she see me, she's like, I'm happy I stayed.
Mm. Mm. Yeah,
So
word of mouth is
that's
real.
why I like, yes, and that's why I like, because all the time I hear, oh, such and such. I'm like, yes, I know a little bit of people, so my name is great. So, and it's gonna stay great.
Yeah, I love it. I don't work too far from Aviators, so I know about it. I played ball there a couple
Mm,
of times myself, and it's a
okay.
great facility. And the fact that you're running the whole program there is awesome. I mean, that is a
Hmm.
great space, um,
Yes,
just for young people to play in. And it's
yes,
it's, it's
yes.
clean, it's respectable, it's exciting.
Hmm.
Um, and the fact that you're there as a person of color running that program is to me a big deal.
I
It is
agree.
a big deal. I think it's a big deal. So I'm proud of you for that. And I'm curious now. You put yourself out there. You work with the community. Um, what are the ages of the people that you're coaching right now?
The program 5 years old to up to maybe 16.
Okay, okay,
But I have worked with older, but the program that I run there is from 5 to 16.
got it. So just asking you, I'm curious if you play against other people, and you even said you've played
Hmm.
with people your age and older, and now with
Hmm.
younger people as well.
Hmm.
What's your preference? Because there are different levels to coaching and being able to teach someone something, right? As we grow up, we hit these different landmarks where we're a
Hmm.
little more malleable to taking
Hmm.
instruction from someone. But as we get older, sometimes we think we know everything. So,
Hmm.
do you have a preference for teaching the demographic you're with now, or if you had your choice, would you teach people who
If
are
I had
in
my
high school,
choice,
college?
my choice would be, to be honest with you, from 9 to 12. Like from, oh yeah, 9 to 12. I used to coach a CYO team in St. Bernard. I used to coach St. Vincent. That prepared me when I coached St. Bernard. And those kids started with them in fifth grade to eighth grade. And I had a great set of kids, and they listened. Um, Older kids is cool too. They sometimes they think they know a little bit too much than they supposed to. The younger kids are great too, but the only thing about younger kids is that they a little immature. The 5 to 7, 8 years old, they immature, but they listen though. But when you get that group like in between, that's when they lock in and want to play basketball. They lock in, want to play. They have an idea that they want to play. They don't love it yet, but they like it a lot.
Yeah,
So when they start to get better at that age, 9, 10, 11, then they start loving the game.
yeah,
And they
yeah,
don't got nothing else to do but play basketball, or video games. But when they hooked on basketball, then, that's when I could mold, and, they listen more.
yeah,
So I like that age group.
yeah. Now, I kind of like you have used sports and played a variety of sports for a number of years, but I do think there's a clear correlation between people who do sports in general and then people who use those same lessons from sports to apply it to either school or their life or their work, their jobs. Your role is a big one because now you're mentoring,
Mm,
right? You're teaching and
mm,
mentoring this
mm.
demographic. What are some of the life lessons that you think you're able to share with some of the students that you've been working with for the last couple of years?
Um, I would tell them, do what makes you happy, because I remember when I was in high school and we played against Stephon Marbury. I always remember this. Like the morning before, I had a friend, and this friend was like, "Oh, Stephon Marbury's coming to school today. I bet you everybody's gonna just love him and jump all over him." And I was one of them guys. Like, I'm not gonna do that. You crazy? I'm not gonna do that. I didn't even know who Stephon Marbury was at the time. You know. So at the end of the game, Stephon Marbury looked at me and said, "Yo, you could play. I like your game. You could play." And I always regret not going up to him and saying, "Oh, for real? What's up? I could come practice with you." And I wanted to do that, but I did it because of my friend. I didn't want him to say, "Oh, you sweating Stephon
Mm.
Marbury." Better. That's the better way of saying it. So I regret that. So I would tell kids, listen, don't listen to your friends. Do what make you happy. Because at the end of the day, I think about now, that same friend that Stephon Marbury would have said, Yo, come, I practice on Mondays here. He would have said, oh, you lucky. You practice with Steph? You know you lucky. It would have made me better as a person. If Steph would have said no, I would have bumped into him again and said, okay, cool. Matter of fact, if he would have said no, I know next time I saw him play against him, I would have been a lot better because I would have wanted to show him, yo, listen, I could bust your ass. So I know
Mm.
how I was. You know what I'm saying? Even though he was older, I know how I was. At that time, I didn't think nobody was better than me. I walked in every game thinking I was gonna win. You know, so that's how my mentality was.
Yeah.
So either or, I would have been a winner.
Yeah. Where does that come from for you? Because I know a lot of people have inspiration from family members. Sometimes it's because they want to prove something to somebody else. Sometimes it's just ingrained in them because their parents were that way. And for some, it's just, we talk about mom mentality on the show a lot. It's just in them. It's the drive. What drives you, or what drove you at that time to just want to be the best at playing this sport?
Um, Not getting teased. I was one of the shortest kids in my class, so I had to prove I was better and bigger than everybody else in that way. Because if I was shortest, but I always got picked first in basketball, so I had to be better than, not like a little bit better. I had to be a lot better than you. I was the shortest. I remember going into high school. One of these kids was like, "Oh, you're not gonna make the team too short." That kid, same kid, the end of the end of trials, he's like, "Yo, I'm on your team."
Mm,
You know, I had to be that good because I was that small.
mm,
You know, so it's just that I just didn't want to be embarrassed. Back then it's not like now. Kids would make you cry. You know, so you had to step up 10 times to even show that you're the man. You know what I'm
right.
saying? So I
Yeah.
tried. I tried my best,
Yeah. Do
and I
you
had a little name too.
What was that?
I mean, I had a little name, like, my name kind of rung bells in my neighborhood, in my
Oh, okay.
school, so
Yeah.
I had to keep the name.
Yeah, yeah. No, I hear that. Name is
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
Legacy.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely right. Absolutely right.
yeah.
Absolutely right.
So, I think you and I grew up in some of the same time frame, right? I think
Mm,
the youth today are a little different, and you could probably talk about
mm,
this more because you work with them on a regular basis.
mm,
Some people talk about the youth today being soft. Some people talk about the game of basketball today even being different, and the game of
mm,
basketball being soft compared to players in the 80s and 90s and even 70s.
mm,
What are your thoughts as a coach as you're bringing up this next generation of players, thinking about how
mm,
you play, against Steph and other people during that time,
mm.
and now seeing how the game of basketball, even the rules of basketball, have been changing, and the game has been changing. What are your thoughts and how you're coaching now this next generation of players in terms of how to be mentally tough, physically tough, and how to really play the game to the highest at the highest level?
Well, the kids now, they rely on this 3-point shot all the time. You know, they'll step back for a 3-pointer when they have a layup.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep telling them, you could take 10 3-pointers and hit one, or you could take 10 layups and hit nine. Which one is more? Another thing is that not a lot of them are good. You might have a handful that's good. When I grew up, like if it was 20 people in the park, 19 was really good.
Mm,
Maybe, and the 18th one was good as well. It's not like he was a scrum, but he just wasn't as good as the other players. Now these kids more into video games, into dressing cool. I remember, I went everywhere in my basketball shorts,
mm-hmm.
and not just me. My other people, they went everywhere in their basketball shorts, just in case you had to go to the park. Not only if we had to wear jeans, we wore our basketball shorts underneath our jeans. So
Mm-hmm.
just in case we could just take off our pants and play ball. So we was always prepared. Now these kids, they just because my mother told me play basketball. My father told me play basketball. They not a lot of them not doing it because they want to play basketball.
Mm,
So you gotta force them to practice.
mm,
You gotta force them. Literally, there's kids that's nice and could play. They don't know they could play. I seen in them they could play, and they refuse to put the energy in. I'll tell you one story. I was in this. We used to call this gym called Hoopland It's in Brooklyn on Glenwood Road. My friend used to manage it. And there was a player, he was in high school, probably 10th grade. Never saw in my life. He was about 6'3", 6'4" at the time. And he picked up the ball and he dribbled it one time. And I bumped my friend. I said, yo, who's that? He's like, why? I said, yo, that kid is nice. And he said, how you know? I said, I know he nice. He said, he just dribbled it one time. I said, I know he nice though. And he said, bro, that's crazy because they say he's gonna go to the NBA. I said, really? They said, yeah. I said, yo, I believe it. He said, but you haven't gonna play. It was Lance Stevenson, right? So my friend always tells me about, yo, remember when you saw Lance and you just knew he could play?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, I got an eye for certain things, you know? So I just saw the way how he dribbled it. I guess the confidence in the one dribble, I guess. I thought he was nice. Just like, this is a young late girl. She's 11. And I showed her how to do layups. And I have a hoop in my backyard. So while I was at work, she came to my house. My mother was there. And my mother said, go in the backyard. And she went in the backyard. And she started practicing what I showed her. And it looked like she played basketball before I showed her that. And I kept telling her, listen, we need to work on our basketball. And she's like, it's too much work. Too much work. I'm like, damn, I wish she loved it. Because I kid you not, in a year, she could be really good. Really good. And there's a lot of kids out there that could be really good. Because remember, there's people that play ball and there's ball players. And sometimes the people that play ball is better than the ball players, but the people don't have that play ball is discipline. They don't want to practice. They don't want to work out on certain things. They don't want to go do certain things that you have to do to play basketball. So I keep telling people, you play ball, you can play, but you're not a ball player.
Right.
You're not a ball player.
Right.
Ball players is different than people that play ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
True. It's true. It's true. That's real talk. And I think it's somewhat discouraging because you have a lot of people who have the skill, have the talent, but like you said, not disciplined enough to really put that work in.
Yeah, yes.
And then you got cats who love the game and work so hard and they can get pretty good, but they're not going to be a Lance. They're just not going to, they don't have that talent. They don't have that skill set. So, you look at the NBA and like you said, everybody in the NBA is, pretty good, clearly, because they're there.
Last All-American, he's not in the NBA now. Is he in the NBA now?
No, not right.
You see?
Exactly.
He's still a young guy. So there's a lot of people that could play. I know personally growing up, I thought should have been in the NBA, and they wasn't in there because of discipline.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's a crazy concept.
Even my friend, he's undersized for what he do, but he works hard. He worked really hard to play overseas professionally for maybe 20-something years. He worked really hard for it. And he can't jump higher than a lot of kids, But he does. He was the number one rebounder in the nation when he was in college. He worked really hard to stay where he's at. And there's players that he played with in the summer that play overseas, but they don't make as much money as him. They don't play at the same level as him because he's playing against NBA players that's overseas. He may make the league, but he worked hard for it. Those other players, they basketball players, but they just I'm nice already. I can stop.
Right. Yeah. And that's real talk when you know that you're good enough to get to a certain level. Why push any more than that?
Yeah.
And I don't know. The whole premise of the show is to really look at people being more and trying to strive for greatness. But I do think some people kind of coast. And that's with sports, that's with jobs, that's with relationships.
Yeah.
You get to a point where you just kind of say, you know what, I'm good. I'm getting my paycheck, I'm cruising, things we're comfortable, whatever. But
my bill is paid, I can sit on the couch and drink a beer and watch TV for the rest of the
day. Yeah. And I just in talking to you now, it sounds like and it seems like that was never you. Like your whole thing was let me just keep pushing, let me keep striving. If I'm not playing, let me teach someone else how to play. Let me just keep going. And that's me too. So I connect with you on that because I think it's easy for us to coast.
It stresses you out, it depresses you sometimes because you got the world and you feel like, damn, I want Mars. I don't got Mars. So I get bothered by it sometimes because I do a lot in my days, and you always want more, and you don't appreciate what you got sometimes because you're just like, oh, that's behind me. I got that already.
Yeah.
Some people don't have it. Some people don't have it. Some people look at me and think I got it all. I be like, I got it all. But what makes me happy is when a kid comes to me and say, yo, I appreciate you, or show the appreciation. The craziest thing that bugged me out the first time ever, and it's the truth. So, I was in practice. My last day of practice, my clinic day, and I was taking pictures with the kids. And a young white kid, started crying. He was probably like 8 or 9. Started crying. His father came up to me and said, I was like, "You okay?" He said, "Yeah, he just wanted to take a picture with you. That's why he's crying. He didn't get to take a picture." So we took the picture, then he started smiling. That right there was crazy to me. Because not only did a kid want to take a picture of me like I'm a star, he
Mm-hmm.
was white. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't grow up like that. You know what I'm saying? So it was
Mm-hmm.
shocking to me because I work in an area where I get white, black, all type of people, and I also hear all type of things as well when they think I'm not listening.
Mm-hmm.
So to see their kids appreciate me
Mm-hmm.
as a black guy, you know what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
more than they thought it would happen, it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of crazy and funny and like just weird sometimes, but a good weird, a good weird.
Yeah, no, it's huge. I mean,
Yeah,
it just shows that I've always said this, sports is that common denominator that breaks down
yeah,
everything. It
yes.
breaks down all the
Sports
lines
and music, sports
and
and music.
music. Yep,
Yes,
exactly.
yes, yes,
Exactly. It
yes.
breaks down all the color lines, all the gender lines for just
Hmm.
it's equalizer. And
Yes,
when it's as beautifully done like the way you're doing it, everybody wins.
yeah.
Everybody wins. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and she's getting into running now, and I'm trying to see what she likes in terms of sports and whatever else. So we shoot in the backyard every now and then, and she's got a nice little shot. But
Hmm.
I'm curious if two questions. If you do coach, it sounds like you do coach females as
Hmm.
well, girls,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
And then I'm curious, just looking at um the way that your program is run,
Hmm.
based in Brooklyn, but also playing an aviator, a lot
Hmm.
of things that we look at now in terms of what youth are doing, like you said, a lot of them are playing games, video games, and there's not a lot of activities for them to do or be engaged in. And as a
Hmm.
result, a lot of things are happening in terms of our communities, in terms of um, violence rates increasing, just kids just not having things to do, right? Being
Hmm.
idle. But you're giving them an outlet to do things in a constructive way. Um,
Yes.
do you feel like you want to expand this to be bigger than it is? And what's the future now for Heart to Guard basketball and the clinic that you're doing?
Listen, I always want to expand. I've been getting bigger every year, whether the number is 10, 100, or 1. Always getting bigger. Um, Parents appreciate me. The only thing that's holding me down a little bit is that I got 9 to 5. So I got to work my 9 to 5 and then go work my basketball program after on the weekend. So I work 7 days a week. Sometimes I work, I remember when I worked at I mean, I still work at AV, but I used to be night manager as well. So I used to be night manager, coach at a school. So I left my 9 to 5, did some one-on-one practices with kids in the park or wherever. Then I go to my coaching practice at St. Bernard. Then I go to Aviator afterwards to do my coaching there too, as well as be night manager. And
Mm,
then come home at night to go back to my 9 to 5 in the morning.
mm,
And then weekends, I did the branded clinics at Aviator. Then I went to go coach games for my CYO teams on the weekends. So the problem with that, as I said, as a guy, there was no dates. so so I used to miss out on a lot of opposite sex company to go out on dates.
mm-hmm.
But that's the sacrifice you take. Even though some of the sacrifice, if I look back, I would have, did different. But I don't regret it because I really loved it, and the karma will come back at me in some way,
Mm,
some form, some fashion.
absolutely.
So I appreciate that. So maybe if I went out, I would have, and we lost the game. I would like, damn, I could have helped out.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at my situation.
That's big, Clint. I mean, it just again just shows what Be More Today is all about. It's you giving back. It's you being better for yourself and for others. And I asked everybody on the show what the phrase Be More Today means to them. So you are the 102nd person I'm asking on this show. When you hear the phrase Be More Today, what does that phrase mean to you?
Be more today means to me, if you ran, if you took 10 steps today, I mean yesterday, take 11 today. You know, even if it's a step, it's still better than yesterday. So, don't, just be better every day, whatever you do, whatever it is.
I love it. I love it. Listen, man, what's next on the docket for you? What's the future
Well,
for you or your or basketball program or just anything in general?
the future is find some good help, you know, kids or young guys that's interested in basketball coaching or helping out training. I would if y'all out there, y'all want to be a part of a good program. It's hard to guard basketball. IG is hard to guard basketball. Look me up, hit me up. I didn't start off making. Well, I'm still not making money, ton of money now, but I didn't start off making $1. So if if you're willing to come and grind it out and see what we could make out of it, I appreciate all the help. And as well, you be in the gym, you can shoot around and work on your game. I tell kids all the time that I had, the extra time you got, you could work on your game and then help me after, or, or work on the game after or before. So I'm looking for help so I can start bigger programs and AU teams and have a bigger group of kids instead of me just doing by myself right now.
Mm, I love it. It sounds exciting, and we're gonna support you in any way that we can. Be More Today and our listeners and our platform. So you keep those things coming towards us, and we'll keep promoting it for you.
Appreciate it. Hard to guard basketball on IG. Look me up there. I got a bunch of pictures and videos of kids I trained when they was young and get older. And I got an in-house at Aviator Sports in Fort Bend Field. You can hit me up. If you have a kid in between the ages of 5 to 16, I'm here to help. Even if it's older, I'm here to help out if you need the help.
Awesome. Clint, thank you, sir, for being on this show. I really appreciate it. And looking forward to maybe one day playing with you again. We'll find some parts to rock it out.
Anytime. I'm here.
I know the shot is still there, so I'm ready for it.
All right.
And folks, listen, he talked about so many great things today, talking about being stronger. Again, I quote, be stronger than your excuse today. You can't learn if you're not willing to learn. He is teaching every single day these young people and giving back to his community and showing them how they can use basketball, yes, for sports and yes, to get stronger and better at their craft, but also to be able to combat all the things that we're going to see in life, being resilient, being present, being able to change ourselves and challenge ourselves to push ourselves to the limit. So we appreciate Clint Hardware and all he's doing. Please follow him, subscribe to his pages. Let's let him know that we are here to support the next generation of young people coming up in Brooklyn and around the world, because basketball and all sports are the equalizer that make us all together. We're one body, we're the human race. Let's keep pushing each other to be great in all ways. So Clint, thank you again for being on the show. We appreciate you, Brody.
Appreciate it too.
Yes, sir. And for all information about Clint Hardware or Be More Today show, you can email me directly at drshawn@bemorettoday.com or any of our social media platforms. Again, my book's on Amazon and our More merch store is open, so check out our stuff. And our podcast always on YouTube and on Apple and Google and Stitcher and all other major podcast platforms. As I always say, have a good day, have a good night, have a great life, and continue to take your steps to greatness to be the best version of you. We'll see you next week. Peace.